Across English city centres, especially on our once thriving high streets, the landscape has changed dramatically in recent years. According to our government leaders, this transformation was supposed to bring diversity, cultural enrichment, and economic revival. It was meant to inject life into our towns and cities, creating vibrant modern communities where people from all backgrounds could thrive together. But take a walk through some of these areas today, and what you'll actually see tells a very different story. We'll dive into this story in today's video, but before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Right now, only 12% of viewers are subscribed, so join the community and help us grow. Instead of cleaner, safer, more dynamic high streets, many are now filled with rubbish. Litter is strewn across pavements, bins are overflowing, and in some cases, there are even street fires, right in the middle of a supposedly developed capital. The environment in some areas has declined so badly that people are genuinely questioning whether they're walking through a British city or a place struggling with the infrastructure issues of a third world country. This isn't what people were promised. The lack of shared standards, the breakdown of civic responsibility, and the reluctance to enforce basic public order is a huge problem. These issues arise when you try to implement diversity with cultures that don't hold the same living standards. When no one is held accountable, when maintaining a clean, safe environment becomes a low priority. This is the end result. And let's be clear, it's not just sad, it's unacceptable. Have a look at this clip for yourself. It's more than just rubbish on the streets. It's a symbol of deeper decline, a wake-up call. Because if this is the direction our city centres are heading, we have to start asking some hard questions about the decisions that got us here, and what needs to change before it gets worse. Have a watch of this. It's more than just rubbish on the streets. It's a symbol of deeper decline, a wake-up call. Because if this is the direction our city centres are heading, we have to start asking some hard questions about the decisions that got us here and what needs to change before it gets worse. Have a watch of this, reflection of a deeper issue, a lack of pride, accountability, and respect for public spaces. It raises serious questions about whether the policies sold to the public as enrichment have been backed by the leadership structure and enforcement needed to make them work. Diversity without shared standards doesn't lead to strength, it leads to fragmentation. If this is the state of our high streets today, what will they look like in another 10 years? If leaders won't speak honestly or act decisively, then ordinary people need to start demanding better. Cleaner streets, safer spaces, and a return to the values that once made these cities feel like home. Because this can't be the new normal, and it's up to all of us to say enough is enough. In other news, police have ushered away multiple people carrying placards reading "We stand with Britain's Jews," taking them away from large crowds of pro-Palestine protesters. Shouts of shame and free Palestine emerged loudly from the activists along the Victoria Embankment in London. Arrests were made during a scuffle between protesters, with the Metropolitan Police posting on X. A small group of counter-protesters breached their conditions by demonstrating at the form-up point of the Palestine Coalition protest. This led to a scuffle between several individuals from the two groups. Officers were quickly on the scene to separate those involved, making a small number of arrests. Tens of thousands of protesters are marching through central London, led by a woman in a mobility scooter carrying a sign that said, "Palestine, Freedom, Peace." Behind her walked thousands of protesters with several in high-vis tops interlocking arms. Stalls were selling keffiehs, and outside Embankment Station, people were handing out placards reading, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," and "It's not a crime to act against genocide." Other placards stated, "Starmer has blood on his hands, free Palestine." Your party leader, Jeremy Corbyn, has been seen in the crowd carrying a large banner that said, "National March, Free Palestine." As protesters chanted, "From the rivers to the sea, Palestine will be free," Mr. Corbyn remained silent. However, he was seen chanting, "Palestine will be free," after a protester with a megaphone shouted, "Netanyahu, you will see." Protesters are expected to march from Embankment before a rally in Whitehall. Counter-protesters from Stop the Hate are expected to march from the junction at Aldwych and the Strand, with police taking measures to try to prevent a clash between the two groups. One placard held by the counter-protesters read, "It was never about Palestine, it was always about hate." A counter-protester with a megaphone yelled, "You can stick your Palestine up your hole." Scotland Yard said it has imposed conditions on both demonstrations under the Public Order Act to prevent serious disruption. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood said the repeated large-scale protests had caused considerable fear for the Jewish community. One pro-Palestine demonstrator was escorted away in handcuffs by police, shouting, "This is Islamophobia. Because I said coconut, I have been arrested for what is a legal word in English. The word coconut is not illegal. It has been proven in a court of law." The demonstrations come as tens of thousands of Palestinians return to their homes in Gaza following the withdrawal of Israeli forces. The Israeli military said the ceasefire agreement came into effect at noon, 10 a.m. BST yesterday. The pause in the two-year war in the Middle East comes as Hamas agrees to release the remaining hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners, to be continued. A British Airways flight was forced to make an emergency landing in Romania after it was reported that 4 people had fallen ill with suspected smoke inhalation. The flight departed Istanbul and was heading towards London, but requested to land at Bucharest's Henri Coanda International Airport at 5:50 p.m. The Romanian airport said the aircraft carrying 142 passengers landed at 6:14 p.m., with medical crews quickly rushed on board. In a statement shortly after the incident unfolded on Thursday, the Romania's Health Ministry confirmed the presence of smoke on the plane. The Health Ministry said 4 people are in poor health, possibly being smoke intoxicated, and are receiving medical assistance on site. It added that the situation was dynamic and more details about the incident would be released in due course. However, this claim has been refuted by British Airways, who said the emergency landing was made as a precaution due to a suspected technical issue. The airline added that no hospitalizations had taken place and passengers exited the aircraft normally after arriving into the Romanian capital. On the British Airways website, the flight was marked as diverted and listed as having landed into the Eastern European country at 6:21 p.m. An alert message on the website read, "We're very sorry this flight scheduled from Istanbul to London has been diverted to Bucharest." A spokesman for British Airways said, "The safety of our customers and colleagues is always our top priority, and our crew made the decision to divert as a precaution due to a suspected technical issue. The aircraft landed safely, customers disembarked normally, and we received no reports of smoke on board or hospitalizations. We're sorry to our customers for the disruption to their journeys, and our teams are working to get them on their way again as quickly as possible." Last year, a Swiss air cabin crew member died after inhaling smoke while on board a flight traveling between Bucharest and Zurich. On December the 23rd, the plane was forced to make an emergency landing in the Austrian city of Graz after the aircraft experienced engine issues. The cabin crew member quickly fell ill and was rushed to an intensive care unit. The 23-year-old flight attendant died 1 week later after his brain had been severely damaged due to a lack of oxygen. Inhaling even small amounts of smoke can cause damage to the lungs and airways. However, it can turn deadly if a large amount of smoke is breathed, as often toxic chemicals such as carbon monoxide and cyanide end up being circulated to the brain. Common symptoms of smoke inhalation include shortness of breath, chest pain, sore throat, and headache. And what are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.